the 16th, and it is a Monday. We're still in Black History Month. A lot of you are celebrating Black History 360, something that sounds wonderful. And I've been putting up a couple of little, I guess you call them tags, and information about Black inventors and contributions from the Black community for the Black History Month. But what caught my eye the other day, remember I told you guys about my stalker, and I've noticed others posting their information about their stalkers here in the state of California. And it's different type of stalking. So I decided to do a little bit of research to see what they're experiencing. And there was a gentleman that showed in detail, in video, of how they will stalk you when you're driving down the road, and then they will get you into an accident. Now that happened to my cousin up in Sac, and he fell into a depression because he ended up losing his job. He was working at the time when they did it to him. And they were people that looked like us, but they were not like us, okay? So when he told me about that, his life was really connected to his job. Like he felt a certain way having that position, having that job, and making that type of money. And when that situation happened and so forth, as a man, it really affected him in a negative way, in a way to the point that he was so depressed. He didn't take care of his home, and they did at a later date try to go in there and help him out, but ultimately he did die. And I'm sharing this information with you because online, a lot of the serious things that you probably would want to know are not discussed because they're looked at as a negative. But I feel if you're going to waste your time, you should be wasting it on something that may be beneficial to you, whether it be your safety, whether it be something that is more positive about your health and better ways to eat and live, to be able to thrive here in California with everything that is going on. So regardless if it's just publicly said or not, I think it's something that you should be aware of and make necessary, I don't want to say accommodations, but just to be aware that this is going on. I have, hi, how are you? I am wonderful this Monday, and I trust that you are too. And I'm sharing with you some information that I think is very interesting. And please take note, because I think that a lot of times we don't discuss the things that may not be as pleasant, but it should be something that you are aware of. And the gentleman, when he made his video, I watched it from start to end, and I had similar situations happen to me when I went to pick up my mail. I haven't been able to pick up my mail because you know my situation with my vehicle, where I was stalked and I had damage done to my vehicle. I put one of those nice little wraps on there that you can get at any of your shopping stores. You can make your own wrap like I did, so that way the water doesn't get inside of the Jeep. And for now, it's working. But however, I have not been downtown, and I see where other people have experienced the same similar things as me. Is it anti-Black, or is it just an opportunity that these people see and that they are taking advantage of the Black community because they are so visible? We are visible, and you know, and I think that it's not talked about because of everything that's going on currently in California. You know, we're one of the states where the protection is definitely for the immigrants, and everything else quite often is placed on the side, which is very unfortunate. So who do you go to get this information out? Is it the Attorney General? Who do you talk to about the events that are going on with stalking? And it's not something that just started yesterday. This has been going on for a while. So the guy shows how one person will pull up and then another one on the side of you, and what they're trying to do is create some chaos where you are in an accident. Yes, usually if you slow down, it makes a difference. I drive slow and I don't take the freeway, so I don't necessarily see it as much as I used to when I was going downtown to run errands. I've also had situations where they try to set you up for something and then lie about it. And I can go on with the different scenarios of what's been going on. I even had the lady who ran into the back of my Jeep while I was parked in front of my place to get my mail. And she pretended she couldn't speak English, but yet she said I wouldn't talk to her. I'm like, what is there to talk about if you're not, you don't speak English? And then she tried to go get someone to be an interpreter, and I was like, no, I'd rather deal with the police at this point. So it's pretty serious. If you'd rather deal with the police than with somebody who just ran into the back of you and first was yelling, making a scene, and then act like they're getting someone to be they were just doing too much so quick for someone who's sitting there just waiting for the mail place to open. So it's been a lot going on in LA. With me being disabled and looking for certain resources, they appear to be like they're trying to help. But in the long run, they ended up being not so helpful and damaging. And this also went with the loans that I was getting, those temporary loans I told you guys about getting the vehicle repaired and them taking the money off my credit card after everything had already been approved and paid for. So when I write to these agencies that we have in California that's supposed to be here to help protection of consumers, I'm not getting responses. And when I do get a response, then they try to say that it's for something else and not for what it is that I'm asking for. And then when I try to ask, okay, well, can you direct me in the right direction? All of a sudden they don't know, and they send you to a general number, which is called R211. 211 is not your savior. It will not necessarily help you with too much of anything at this point. And a lot of times they would tell you to contact our police department. I find that interesting, especially when it's not an emergency, but it is something that's pretty serious. So why would you send me to something as such? But I think we are all aware right now with everything that is going on that it probably will get worse before it gets better. So that's why I'm sharing this information with you, especially as a woman, to be alert and to be aware, and especially as a Black woman, to know that these things are happening all around you. And you still deserve to be protected, honored, loved, cherished, cared for. Concerns should be met. All those good things that are offered to everybody else. So our human rights should not be violated or less than. And therefore, you should be able to find some type of resource that can address the concerns in our community. I feel that all of the eyes and the thoughts and any energy of what's going on is all directed in one area and one area only, and it's showing in our communities. It's showing to the point that even the Olympics don't even look like the Olympics. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like everyone has put their focus on other issues, and a lot of times it's just self. And I have to tell you, I believe that regardless of the color of one's skin, when you have people that are in dire need, they're going to do some things that are not so culturally acceptable. But it seems to be all right when they're doing it versus someone who was black doing it. So, mind you, culturally, blacks have always been prosecuted to the hardest law or judgment, whether it be an actual court session or just in someone's mind. That when they look at a black person, there's a couple of things that's going through their minds. Like I always told you guys, a lot of this stuff is in their head. You're not aware of what they're thinking or projecting onto you. So please be alert, please be aware. Safety is necessary when you're driving, when you're shopping, even when you're ordering your food. I was told to no longer eat out. They said start making your own meals at home and going to some of these other places to get your food and your veggies and stuff. So a lot of you know, with me having limited mobility, under some of the programs that we have here in California, I was able to eat at these places and use the benefits that they offer me. But there were times when the food didn't quite taste right or something didn't seem right. I've had a lot of those situations too. And the reason I didn't quite talk about it, because I like to bring you stuff with the facts to be able to show for sure. Showing you some food that don't quite look right and is funky, they don't really show you much on a YouTube video. I'm telling you about it, but I want you to be aware. And I think that it is serious enough that I've made this video to talk to you about what's going on with the blacks in California. I think it's serious enough. So the code red is something that people usually use, as it says here, for a statewide emergency. Or if you have a child that is missing and they want to give an alert, boil the water if the water is not drinkable, immediate threats to public safety. Usually what the code red is used for. So I had to look it up just to see if there was something going on online that could give me a little bit more about what's going on with blacks in California. So I asked, what does this mean specifically for black Americans? In a literal emergency sense, if code red referred to code red alerts for wildfires, extreme heat, poor air quality from the fires, or evacuations. Black communities in California, concentrated in places like Los Angeles, Oakland, the Inland Empire, and parts of Central Valley. Now, these are more of the common people, common workers. These are not the wealthy areas of the videos that sometimes I post for you guys to see the luxury and the leisure, so you can get your mind on something a little bit more positive instead of what's going on necessarily directly in city life and how it is affecting the blacks in California. The displacement from the evacuations or home loss or barriers to recovery, where there be insurance gaps. That's what I experienced, where the insurance didn't pay me for the pedestrian accident, and then they stopped paying for the medical leave that I took from JP Morgan Chase Bank. So all of that has caused my displacement, in addition to just not getting simple help that is quite often offered to everyone else. And being that I am wheelchair, I won't say bound, but I do need a wheelchair to be able to really get things done and take the time to be in these lines and have discussions with people. Just like when the iPad cracked yesterday, I was not able to stand there and speak with the general manager of bonds because I couldn't stand that long, and I was trying to get me a little scratch ticket real quick, won a few dollars. Thank you. Always a blessing from the universe, from all the gifts that is given to us. So definitely want to give that gratitude out there, but I want you to be aware of this concern. So I had to just go ahead and get the information later and have a seat because I could not stand for a long period of time. And my back is hurting, so I'm going to do another fasting. Um, since I've been eating the bell peppers and everything, when I look at my urine, I don't like public restrooms, but I monitor my urine to see how it's looking, if it's dark, light, whatever. And when I eat the peppers and I'm drinking a lot of water, the urine is the right color. However, because of the pedestrian accident, I get pain from that side, like I need to go back to the chiropractor. But as you know, there was an interruption in my physical therapy because I was aiming to get back to the West Coast to see my mother before she had passed. And unfortunately, I was not able to be able to do all that. I just literally did not have that money and everything that was supposed to come from the accident to help me get back to where I was before I was hit by the vehicle. So I've been, since the pandemic, I've been doing this routine. I've been caring the best of my ability for myself. And the place that I was staying in, I told you guys, there was some random man that was living on our couch. And Cheeky, the roommate, he never would talk about it or say anything about it. So I ended up leaving because it was a very strange situation. And the homeowner kept emailing them and asking them, who is this person on the couch? So with all that said and all the years that have passed since those situations have happened, I've continued with my peace of just being with myself, sitting here, getting stuff done, running errands, and so forth. But it does not change the fact that there's stalking going on and that there are people that see you. You can't just not be seen, okay? So they see you and they will stalk you in their minds. And in their mind, there's a lot going on. I don't think there's anybody in California that can deny that mental health is a real serious issue, especially in Los Angeles. And they made it okay to be a certain way. They're cleaning it up, but it's not still where you would think that it would be with all the money that has resources and the money that was poured into the community for particular reasons. So the Black population, vulnerable populations that include the Black residents in urban or rural low-income areas may have less access to transportation for evacuation, reliable cell phone service, notifications, or the financial resources to prepare and recover. And that's what I've just went over with you about all those scenarios and situations. In addition to those of us who are trying to further our education and better ourselves in our situations. So, as Newsom and some activist media have framed it in 2026, some discussions tie the code red to heightened threats under current federal policies, including potential rollbacks on civil rights protections, equity programs, immigration of enforcement, or social safety nets that disproportionately affect Black Americans. Concerns over policing, voting rights, economic policies, DEI initiatives facing challenges. The Black female officer that tried to do the right thing and then end up losing her job. We just had another Black sheriff person die. They didn't say much what happened to him. So even those that may be wanting to step up to not have so many incidents are seeing the punishment for doing so. So California has not been that supportive, especially when it comes to the laws of the anti-hate against blacks. You'll get it against the Jews, you'll get it against about a lot of other groups, but the one group consistently, since that one drop rule, blacks have not been protected. Now, I know people want to throw in the African word, but understand that that was not used. That is something new within the last, say, 10 years or so. People were not using African American. That just was not the titles. I think it's wonderful. Nobody wants to just be called black like a crayon color. However, a lot of us have extremely different backgrounds and were reclassified as black because they were titled as something else before the takeover. Understand? And it's not denying a connection. I mean, I always think that it's such a so silly argument to have when you talk about humanity and where humanity began. But after such, people have since then located on different parts of this earth, and they are called certain people in certain cultures and certain demographics of who they are by their landscape of their location. So when you take that away and you say African American, you literally just take away their history and their fight and what they've been through. And you think you're outsmarting it by saying black and then later saying African. That's just makes no damn sense, because nobody else that they're doing it to but to black Americans. Nobody else. So you have people who have come to America to have peace, and a lot of these people have been mixed. And unfortunately, they've been categorized as mulatto and different code words, where other people who don't know your story will just assume black and white. And that is just simply is not the case. And it has been going on for so long that a lot of people are putting together their family tree and putting a book together so you can know a little bit more about the history. But even that has been so manipulated because it's after the fact. A lot of these documents are after the fact. So you don't have anyone that's going to be able to tell you, no, this is really your official document. This was created at a different date and time, and you have no way to really test out stuff because the black community in America has not established a way to be able to do so. They have not established their own genetic and genealogy and all that good stuff of their own, other than the one guy that will find a place for you in Africa to connect you if that's what your heart desires. If it's right or wrong, it does not matter, because you believe in his technology and what he's doing. For those who have other information and know differently, you don't want to fight with him. You're not trying to say that what he's doing isn't correct or the information is incorrect. So therefore, usually people don't go to him when they know that their family genes is something else. And they're not trying to hurt people's feelings, but people seem to be quite damn sensitive when it comes to black issues. Especially the monkey thing. Well, when you're O negative, you don't have that monkey gene. You got a different gene. And you would think that blacks would have come and figured out some kind of scientific way to get a little bit more information about themselves. And that's the same with Africa or anyone else, because if for sure you were taken from a particular land, from a particular tribe, then yes, you should be able to connect right on back to Africa and be able to get with your family and figure out something where you have somewhere else to go other than America. We don't have that. You don't have that connection. You don't have that scientific information. And a lot of this stuff is just thrown together, especially when it comes to our more, should I say, people that are familiar with familiar faces, athletes, actors, comedians, people that are well known. Yes, they want them connected to Africa. People who are black and have done just amazing things. Yes, they want that connection to Africa. But when it comes to just the average Jane Joe on the street, they ain't got nowhere for you. They're not offering something for you back to Africa type thing and come here and rebuild, and you can have both, um, a family here and there and come here and study and so forth. They're not offering that. So when we're talking about making a safe space and place right here, for me in a place where my family is and came from here in California, where you say, okay, it's in Oklahoma, look, we are native. We've been mixing with different natives before we started mixing with other people. We've all been mixing for quite some time. And that's why it is so important to know who you are and where you came from. If you reclassify, that's who you are. It doesn't mean everybody has the same story. You know how many people in footsteps that have come through America, what is called America now? And then all the different countries that had divided up America before it became one big America. You had the French, the Spanish. All these people have come through and conquered, and they were sucking and fucking, and they've made children. They have offsprings. So the people that came over on the boat, your founding fathers, where their grandchildren are now black. And in whether they're Hispanic, Latino, Mexican, they have black also family. You can look in a family with the same mother and father and have different color of skin and different hair textures. That is an honest, actual, visible truth that you can see. So that anti-blackness and that discrimination is a real thing, and a lot of countries have picked up that poison and started doing it within their own family, which is crazy. Because you're the same people. You come from the same genes. You just got a different set of genes than the other one that has the lighter blonde hair and lighter eyes. But you're the same people. So people want to say African, and that is not the case. They have been scientifically been able to prove that, even if it's just a bloodline. And then just because somebody white come tell you, well, it could just be a fact, whatever it is, you as a black person should be able to have your own way to facilitate that information, to get your own knowledge about what is going on with you, your bloodline, and your people. The protection needs to be there. The protection for blacks needs to be there. It is past time. It is due time and past time. We still got people that are swinging from trees. Just because you don't watch the news doesn't mean that it's not happening. You still got people that come up missing. Just because you don't watch the news and you don't want to hear anything negative doesn't mean that it's not happening. So you're not trying to burst anybody's bubble, and you're not trying to say it's not important because it doesn't apply to you, but when it shows up on your doorstep, then all of a sudden it is. These are real issues in our community. This stuff has been going on long before now, with all this Epstein stuff and everything. At 55, we've all have had certain experiences with these people who've been here long enough to know a little bit better. Race has always been used as a tool to really get your mind off of what the subject at hand is. And unfortunately, a lot of people of color, they like that blackness on the bottom so they can utilize that, well, I'm not that, but I'm this. Or we're a little bit different because that. You guys have all had that discussion, and people do that. But when you talk about human rights for everyone and everybody, then all of a sudden it kept bringing in all these people because they just didn't want the black community to have it. They didn't care what kind of black that you were because it's a one-drop rule. So even though you guys keep trying to pull in this whiteness that is not white skin, everybody knows it's not white skin. And if you go with what the founding fathers said of the one-drop rule and who was considered white, then those of us who were part of that sucking and fucking from the beginning are actually under the safety net of whiteness because we're their great-great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren. So it's just bizarre and bananas to keep the craziness going. But what it is opening doors is for the new immigrants coming in to switch out and play a role because they want the opportunity. And so they all agreed across worldwide that they're going to continue this racism, that they're going to continue this black and white craziness, this madness. And they're going to continue to violate rights for certain groups of people, especially when in their heads they think they're better than. And even the Jews have shown that. So it's beyond now insanity. You see the violation of human rights. And as one individual, we speak of it, and you want us to speak out and get out there and talk. Who are you talking to? Because you keep voting in the same damn people. You still got the same faces, and you're expecting something new. Where does that happen at? Where's something new going to come in when you get the same people with the same theology, the same ideology, the same madness? How is that supposed to change what's going on? And the human rights, you build the people in their communities, in their home. You don't keep trying to drag people to America. That is absolutely insane. Build the people where they are. And you offered them some money. That's one thing they have not offered the black or FBA's foundational blacks is some money to go somewhere else, build somewhere else, to do something else. But they've offered that to immigrants and displaced people recently. We'll give you money to leave. Take that. Build. Take that money and build something where you came from or going back to or whatever it is. Build something. Go and build some. Some people have already went back to Mexico and started a business and doing well and thriving and on making videos about it. That is amazing. That is awesome. That's what should be going on all around the world. So nobody wants to see anybody, at least I don't. I can't speak for everybody else, but in my mind, I'm not trying to see no human sacrifices of any color. And as I told you guys before, in my family, we got a arrangement of folks from all different backgrounds because we've been here since the beginning. So we've been mixing with other folk just simply under health. You know, you don't want to keep the same genes of people that were in your family from distance before. You're trying to mate with other folks that are not in your already gene pool. It's always been told that is not a healthy thing to do, especially if you have any type of I don't want to put it under disability stuff, because then people, they just take a little bit of something and they run with it and then they think everything is like that. But a lot of people are marrying folks who are outside of the community for a reason. You can always look that up for yourself if you want more information on it. So basically, I'm sharing this information with you because I think that is serious enough and something that you should be aware of. And if it means now cooking at home, then do so. If there's certain things that are already prepared and they're not necessarily made there at your favorite fast food place, but they're just like heating it up like them little egg rolls, you might be okay with that. But when they're making them other little stuff where they're adding stuff and it always seems to be different each time that you order that, you may want to be a little cautious of that and just find another way to get them prepared meals, especially being elderly and disabled and up there in age and having limited mobility. Because the times have shown that a lot of these people are not well put together mentally, and that they are sometimes doing stuff to the food. They are sometimes spitting or licking on it. It's a lot going on. And it's not going to get any better anytime soon. So I just highly recommend that you start thinking in a way. I know it's kind of it always seemed paranoid when I was young. My family just would not eat anybody's food. They didn't eat out. I told you guys they always cooked. They always made their own food. They sold, they did all these things. And they weren't part of like that government system. So that's why a lot of people don't know about them, because they would not have been documented. It's like now, say A lot of people, when it comes to jobs, and a lot of people say a good job is working for the government and things like that. But there are a lot of other good jobs and inventions and things that people have done to be able to care and take care of themselves on their own land, and having resources that are outside of the general group population and historic events. So people now are trying to put those stories together, and publishing is something I would think that some of these people that are well known would be doing for people to make it easier so they can publish their books and publish their family information. You would think there would be someone else out there who is black, who is trying to help put together, because you say stop using the word trying and actually achieve and do and succeed. So knowing that the blacks have certain desires now in their communities and wanting to achieve excellence, that road would be paved to make it easier for those that are not financially able to be able to do so, with whether it be a grant, with whatever that this business is supplying to the black community, so that they're able to achieve and excel in whatever inventions and ideas that they have. So the blacks would have to invest in themselves and in their own communities. And that would be very interesting, because with the anti-blackness, usually they have some type of way to destroy someone who is trying to build such type of resources just for the blacks. But they allow it with other immigrant groups. But we are not immigrants. However, immigrants think that we are, and there are immigrant blacks that have come through, but they're not the foundational blacks. So that all argument of all that stuff still takes away from the human rights and the basic needs of blacks in America. So instead of fighting one another, why don't you just call yourself African? It doesn't make sense when you first were called something else. And those people that were first called something else are still fighting for human rights. They are still fighting for protection. They are still fighting that anti-blackness. They are still looking for spaces and places that they can be peacefully without being harmed, without becoming deceased. And if that is so difficult for people to understand, that could be why we're in the predicament we're in now. That means you're going to have to get some different people in these positions. And I know the people that are currently in these positions ain't trying to give up their seat no time soon. So they are focusing all their effort and energy onto the immigrant situation. But there's more going on than just that. And our total economy is depending on some smart people that you guys have voted in and on these seats and on these panels to help make a difference in the community. But they're not looking at that. They're looking at opportunity. And the opportunity is they think that the blacks don't quite have the resources. Therefore, they're aiming for their communities, bringing in the new immigrants, because they feel it's going to be less of a complaint, less of an issue. Just like everything else, but now the water system is affecting everybody. So we have to be aware. We have to vote like we know. We have to choose people who are for blacks. We don't want to get people in there speaking Spanish that speak against blacks and always saying anti-stuff for blacks. We have to be just as hard on those that, just like the Jews do. Anytime somebody's speaking to them, they're ready to pounce and jump on them. Blacks need to be the same way. You can't just keep taking our people out like this and then bringing in some other because they got the African label. Here you go. Here's some sprinkle of pepper for you. Here's some black folks, so you don't feel like we knocked them all out. No, you have. You've slaughtered quite a bit of them, where the original ones are no longer existing. and the ones that are left trying to piece together a puzzle that people think they know, but they don't know. And some people are honestly in their heart trying to help. So please take a lot of this stuff serious. It's not to pull you back into a split that has happened on this earth, because one thing people keep talking about a split, but one thing that we know in the black community is more than just one split. It's almost like a pie. It's more than one split. There are several splits that have happened in our communities. And that's what you're seeing now that a lot of people don't like. And it's not only about survival, but it's like I keep saying, those human rights that somebody at some point have to take it serious enough to know that this is needed for our communities. So wherever you are today, you need to love your space and place and get people together. And if there's trash out, get a cleaning community together to help pick up the trash in the community. If some of you are painters, you help get it together and make the community look better. That's your community, because they are quick to price you out and knock you out of your own communities to give it to someone else at a higher rate and a higher price. So be aware of your surroundings. Know that this stuff is going on. And yes, even in California that supposedly never had slaves or any kind of racism and so forth, they will give you problems at a hospital. We've already had that documented. So it is red code in that sense. And we need someone who wants to represent the blacks first. And then we accommodate everything and everybody else. So this is Monday morning, and we are starting out the week not only with a clear mind, but a right mind, and knowing that your own needs, your self-care, is essential during these times, because it's going to get difficult, but much more difficult before it begins to get better. And unfortunately, a lot of people have gotten a taste of something, so it's going to be not easy as we once believed. So you stay in your focus, your prayer, your affirmations, whatever it is that keeps you in a positive frame of mind as you proceed through your day, whether you're employed or not, and you're writing down whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, because, and we're not saying trying, because we are striving for that excellent in our life. We don't have to be the most famous, the most richest, the most wealthiest. You see what I'm saying? But you're setting the goals for yourself to achieve of where you want to be in your life 5-10 years from now. For me, it was my health. For me, it was getting rid of all them documents and papers that I had in all those different storage units. And it took me years to kind of emotionally separate from a lot of stuff, family stuff, along with dealing with my health. And not being able to really cook the way that I normally cook, to move through life like I normally moved, and now have people that do the stalking and damage to your car. I got a wrap on it right now. And the lifestyle that I once had when I first got this Jeep is not the same. And we're not going back to that type of lifestyle. Things have permanently changed. So when we talk about the split and everything, well, you know, in the black community, there's other splits in addition to the general population split. It has always been that way. When something mainstream takes place, well, in the black community, something else that took place too. So, want to be aware of what it is that you put on the communities. And there's ways to pray for people and wish them good, loving energy that aids them during their times of need. That should be pretty simple and understanding I'm not sure sometimes if people really get what it means to send good energy for somebody. So I'm not trying to dismiss people's intelligence. I'm just saying that we spend so much energy, like you say, all the negative talk and everything. Well, I don't hear a lot of people talking about just sending out a good vibe for someone that they don't know, that they're able to get their needs met, whatever that it may be, that they're able to have the best available to them. Because sometimes some of these people will damage your product and try to give it to you. If you do pick up, you really got to look over your groceries. Sometimes they'll open the stuff. I mean, they really are doing the most these days. This is city life. So people aren't happy and they're taking it out. They feel empowered when they can do certain things to the elderly and the disabled. And it's sad, but that's where some people's mind frames are. And you know what's in LA. You can look up at the demographics and see what group of people I'm talking about. And then you got your own that you may think it's okay. And so that's the point of the story overall today, is to be aware. You may have to change up the way that you do things, especially if you've been eating out. Because I've been posting a lot of my fries. I love French fries, and I really don't care to have grease popping anywhere to be able to cook French fries. I would rather go through a drive-through to eat French fries or egg rolls or whatever. Fried foods. I normally don't fry foods. I haven't been frying foods since I came back to California. I haven't been personally frying stuff. So I usually go out to get fried stuff. Fried chicken, fried fish, fried fries, egg rolls, you name it. And changing your habits, your food, it makes a difference in your life. But I also understand the convenience with everything that's going on and not having that ability to cook. You know, not really having your own space and place to really get yourself established and set up. And not having people to tell you, yeah, here's housing over here. It's open. You know, they're not doing it like that. So you got to know somebody to be able to get into something. It's California has just taken on a totally different face and space and place. And I'm sharing it with you. A lot of people are sharing their experiences. A lot of people have been fortunate enough to finally get into something. Finally. And praise to the utmost highest of all of this that knows everything, and we're trusting in something greater than what we can see. So I'm grateful even for my small wins. I'm grateful that the car vehicle is still running despite all the secondhand damage that was done by others. It was deliberately damaged. And a lot of the repairs that I've done, like I told you, I didn't expect the additional damages. However, I still stay in that gratitude, and I appreciate the grace for those, after I spent all that time talking about the negative ones. I want to leave off with a positive, the gratitude of the good people who have wished me well, have been very kind and generous. And I thank all of you with the good hearts, good minds, good soul, good spirit. I appreciate and value you. I really do value the fact that despite everything that is going on, that you still have that kind heart, that loving spirit, and you're willing to share it and want to see not only yourself live in peace and harmony, but to see somebody else to live in peace and harmony, success, leisure, joy, prosperity, all the goodies in life that a lot of us have worked our entire lives for. We've earned it. It's your God-given right. And black is beautiful. Your skin is beautiful. It's Black History Month. So people are sharing their experiences during Black History Month. Because are you going to share them 360, 65, 365, whatever days of the year? Are you sharing all of that? Are you really trying to share something that could help someone? Or are you just sharing something that can make you money? You know, are you generally spilling out of a cup that is genuine, that is truly desiring to help somebody else? So I'm sharing this with you because I know that it's happening. I've experienced it. And people have now taken the time to put up those videos so you can see for yourself. And it's not pretty. It's not something that is mainstream. But you know that anti-blackness is real, and that's mainstream. So much love and respect. And Kaden Mayfield, thank you for coming through. You said hi, and you said, how are you? I am generally always in great spirits. I really just cannot tell you how much peace I have and how happy that I have just been since back in the day. I've always just had that personality, but I also care about other people, and I also want to see people happy and joyous and safe. I don't want to see people, taken out of this space by somebody's hands who they didn't know, and they hadn't done anything to them. Innocence. Like I told you, I'm the type of person, I just don't mess with people. I do my own thing, and I'm enjoying life. I like being out in nature. I like focusing on my health and my wealth and my well-being. And I like doing it in my black skin. So everybody has the right to do however that they choose. And sometimes you have people, their fathers and mothers teach them negative things about people that are black. And that's really unfortunate. But I would tell you, those that are black and know that people are teaching negative things like that, I'm telling you, you can go through your life and never see those people. So focus on yourself, focus on your goals, focus on your self-care, your self-love, and finding the right people at the right time for everything that you desire in your life, in your heart, in your soul, all of that. That the divine, the entities, and the energies are always there right on time. So we're not walking in fear. We are just sharing information on this social media that is sometimes blinded by success and money and wealth and something that is more positive, and not necessarily informing you of a danger, stranger danger, or whatever right there in your own home or in your own community and what have you. So by the divine light and guidance, the universe, my God, the Lord, all of them I call upon always, every day, and I give my gratitude for the presence in my life, knowing this stuff is going on, but yet grateful that it's not here. You know what I'm saying? It's not in my space and place, and that I can have peace, and that the divine is taking care of them. The ultimate, the universe, all of which I'll talk about, even the devil, honey, let them take care of all that. Focus on yourself. Don't be trying to plan out how you're going to get at them that did something to you. None of that kind of stuff. You're simply focusing on your success, on your self-care, and on your own personal excellence. So we've been chit-chatting, or at least I've been chit-chatting for 53 minutes or 48. And I have no other comments. So thank you, Kaden Mayfield. I appreciate you coming through. And how are you? Before we sign off, is there anything else you would like to say? I see a big 0 on there, so I think you've already clicked off. And I leave, as I always do, to tell you guys, if you got any questions or concerns, anything you want to chat about, leave a comment at the bottom, and I'll get back to you about whatever it is that you left a comment about. So much love and respect. Today is supposed to be a rainy day in California. I have not seen the rain yet. So we're going to go ahead and get our errands completed. Much love and respect this Monday morning. You're going to have a wonderful day and a wonderful week, because that's what you focused on, is your self-care, your self-love, and that divine light that comes through so sweet. Thank you. Thank you for all the gifts. Thank you for the unconditional love. Thank you for protecting and taking care of me. I really love those divine gifts, so I have to say that again. Thank you. Hallelujah. Thank you so much. Love you guys, and we shall chat later.